Last night on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Hello and welcome into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, a little special earlier one tonight as we do have New Year's tonight, you guys. I hope everyone had a wonderful 2024 and I wish you all nothing but the best as we enter 2025. I know personally it was a crazy year for me moving here to the Burgh, but I'm so thankful that I'm here and you guys have welcomed me with open arms these past 6 months, and I'm looking forward to hopefully spending many more years here. I'm joined alongside, of course, tonight, the wonderful Suzie Cool. Guys, we have headgear again tonight, so Happy New Year.
Happy stinking New Year, everybody.
Yeah, Suze, I feel so lucky. We've spent like every holiday together this year.
Yeah, I know. Ever since Cassidy got here, she did have a crazy 2024, everybody. She got here in July, and ever since then, it's been every single holiday. Labor Day, we actually kicked it off on Labor Day together.
That's right,
at
we
Ribfest.
Yeah,
wow,
and
now
then we had
thinking about it.
Christmas, New Year's.
My birthday, your birthday next week,
I know.
Valentine's Day. Let's just do it all together. Perfect.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's so great. But guys, unfortunate news first. Let's talk some Pens. Kind of a bummer. So playing the Red Wings tonight, you know, Detroit just let go of their head coach last week. I mean, they do have a lot they're still trying to fight for, and, you know, but they are, I believe, 7th in the division. And so really thought this game, the Pens would be able to pull out a win in this one. They were able to get right against the Islanders over the weekend, suffered the loss Saturday, got back in the win column on Sunday. But right now, I believe there's still a minute left and they're down 1.
Well, actually, they're down 2 now with 14 seconds to go. Detroit, doubled the lead. So the Pens, once again, not able to pull this one out, just falling short on this one against Detroit.
Yeah, just such a bummer because it felt like they had some of that momentum. We heard from some of the guys over the last 2 weeks. It felt like they maybe finally got right. You know, Suze, you and I have talked about Tristan Jarry getting sent down to the AHL, had a little bit of a rough time getting back into the swing of things in the NHL, but then he had that great performance in Boston. Felt like things were going the right way, and so they entered this one game above 500. So if they lose this, they'll be back at 500. So it just kind of seems like yet another kind of mediocre season.
Yeah, and I think really that we've started to see that because it was like they won 8 out of 11 games, and then whenever they played New Jersey last week, they got shut out, and it just seems that their offense has been kind of stifled since then. I mean, they did put up 7 against Philadelphia. However, that seems to be the trend right now. They can't find how well they were doing in that group where they won 8 out of 11 games or whatever it was since that New Jersey loss and being shut out.
And I think the bright side, too, is, I mean, they are scoring goals. I know in the beginning of the season, it was a little like people were worried because they just didn't seem to have any heavy hitters. They traded for Tomasino, got some guys in there that can score. And now I think really the struggle is the defensive side.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. And that's what it's been the last couple of games. You can't put everything on Tristan Jarry. And that's kind of what the story was at the beginning of the season, just with how him and Nedeljkovic went back and forth last season. Nedeljkovic picked up a bulk of those games towards the end of the season. It was like a 10-game run. They thought they were going to have a playoff chance all because of him, not necessarily because of Tristan Jarry. Tristan Jarry kind of fell off in March last year, started the season kind of that same way. That's why he went down on that conditioning stint. But now I'm thinking maybe it wasn't Tristan Jarry all along. This team has to figure out the defense, because if he doesn't have the defense in front of him, he's not going to be able to make the plays that he needs to play that he needs to make in the National Hockey League for this team to win.
Yeah, and Sully said, too, this team's going to go as far as Tristan goes. I feel like that's kind of a lot of pressure to put on him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's a team sport at the end of the day. And yeah, the defensive side just needs to figure it out. Switching gears to college football, Penn State battling right now in the quarterfinals. I was telling Kate earlier, Suze, our producer Kate for Every Blade of Grass earlier, it just feels weird. It's definitely going to take some getting used to this 12-team playoff because having Penn State playing meaningful football this late, I mean, I know back in the day, like they went far and but like it just seems like this football season is longer than the ones previous. And I mean, because I went to like the WVU Penn State game, that feels like so long ago
that
now.
was so long ago, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, battling in the quarterfinals right now against Boise State. Entering that, they were 11.5-point favorites. I believe Boise's covering right now. Is it still a 10-point game, Suze?
It is. It's 24-14, Penn State, 11:28 left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, so, I mean, Boise State's covering, but I think this one is going to turn out how we all kind of expected. And then a triple header tomorrow. All the other quarterfinal games will be played tomorrow, of course, on New Year's Day. So that'll be very exciting to watch and just see how all of this pans out. I don't know. I think a storyline coming out of this is probably there's a couple teams that shouldn't have got a bye that had a bye. I think Texas is really going to beat Arizona State bad tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll see. That's a story for tomorrow. All right, talking some Steelers. Final game of the regular season. This is a lot on the line, Suze. We've talked about this over and over. I mean, the Steelers, hey, they do still have a path to a home playoff, but a lot needs to happen. Two things in particular that are going to be pretty difficult. The Steelers need to take down Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and the Browns need to beat the Ravens. And I just think the latter, probably not going to happen.
I was going to say, I don't know if the Browns are going to be beating the Ravens in the final week of the season, just with how well the Ravens did against the Steelers 2 weeks ago now. My days are all messed up because of the holidays right now.
We're in that weird week between Christmas and New
I just
Year's.
looked at somebody earlier and I was like, I can't believe Saturday was like 2 days ago. I thought it was Friday. So I don't think that the Browns are going to be beating the Ravens in this final game of the regular season. The Steelers, though, against the Bengals. The Bengals also have something to play for. We've talked about this time and time again on this show over, the last couple of days. With the Bengals now having playoff implications, very small, but still on the line, I mean, this game does mean more than it did 3 weeks ago now. So it's bigger than it seems come Saturday at Acrisure.
Yeah, I do think for the Bengals, unfortunately, like in order for them to get a playoff spot, the Jets have to beat the Dolphins, which the way the Jets have been playing recently.
I don't know. That's going to be how, okay.
Going to be a tough one. So, I mean, the Bengals don't really control their own destiny. So, I mean, they're going to come out and play how they've been playing very hard. And, I mean, Joe Burrow leading the league in yards and touchdowns, which is crazy because they have a 500 record right now. They're 8-8. So it's really impressive that he's still going out there and putting up these numbers. I mean, honestly, he has a campaign, a resume this season that warrants him being named the MVP of the regular season. I would say so, but I don't think an NFL team, I don't think someone's been named the MVP who didn't make the playoffs since Barry Sanders, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know. I don't really see that happening, but he has the resume to do it. And it's just going to be really, really difficult going up for the Steelers to defend this. I mean, especially, this last week. We've heard some rumblings about that locker room, maybe some issues in there. I will say I was over at practice today. Very exciting news, by the way. Cole Holcomb is back. Today was his first day back in full pads after missing 14 months because of that knee injury against the Titans. And he got surgery, wouldn't tell us what, for obvious reasons. I'm pretty sure that's a HIPAA violation, but they asked anyway. But he did seem very happy to be back out there with everybody. He did have a baby girl recently in June, so his demeanor has changed a little bit, but in a good way, I would say. He's a lot more approachable. So
that's good.
Yeah, that's nice. But this defense as a whole, I think they're just it's going to be a tall task going up against Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. Like you said, they still have a lot to play for.
Well, and what we've talked about this Bengals game that is coming up is the game against the Bengals for the Steelers earlier this season was the first time that we really saw them go back and forth offense-wise with a team. Well, that offense has been something that the Steelers have lacked over the last couple of weeks, and they've also lacked their defense as well, which was their strong suit at the beginning of the season. Now, they were going up against three of the best and hottest teams in the NFL right now with the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. However, with the offense that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are putting up right now, that defense needs to be back in action because it could be the same case that they've seen over their last 3 games.
Yeah, and honestly, I do think this is a game where it's going to be an offensive shootout.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it is.
I think it's going to be the same thing as last time.
Yeah, I mean, as good as the Steelers' defense is, I just think the Bengals' offense is too high-powered, and the Steelers' offense is going to need to compete with that. Also, the Bengals' defense is not the best. So if the Steelers start running up the score, then the Bengals will respond. So I just see it being another probably 30-plus point game on both sides, honestly. But yeah, it'll be an offensive.
So you're saying your score prediction has changed. We can go over that later.
We'll wait on that. A little teaser. Teaser for the people.
Yes. They're for the people back at home. No, I agree though. I do think it's going to be another offensive shootout. However, I just hope that the defense can, reel it in a little bit after the last couple of games.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, guys, we're going to head to break. Give us a call, 412-575-2600. I know it's New Year's Eve, but hey, we want to hear from you guys. Welcome back. This is your GMC Sierra tweet of the night from Pro Football excuse me.
Oh my. Pro
Football Focus. Still trying to get over that cold. Sorry, guys. Zach Frazier. Among centers in Week 17, there's his PFF grade. He has 81.3 run blocking grade, which is first in the league, 48 pass blocking snaps, and 0 pressures allowed. Not bad for a rookie, ladies and gentlemen, and not bad for a rookie that missed a few games because of a serious injury and battled back the way he did and is performing the way he did. Coincidentally, also, today he was named, so we do, the Steelers beat writers will vote every year on a chief and then a rookie of the year. So the chief is someone on the team who, really works well with the media, and then your rookie of the year. And Zach Frazier won the rookie of the year. So today he actually spoke to the media about that and just about receiving that honor. And I mean, it's really not shocking. I was blessed to cover this kid a little bit at WVU when I was down there. And I mean, nothing describes Zach Frazier better than when he bear crawled off the field with a broken leg to save time so his team could go down and score and win the game. He is an ultimate team player, an ultimate center, and I think he's a future Hall of Famer. Big thing to say.
I was going to say, bold statement, but can we also just say, I feel we have been ripping on the O-line all season for the Steelers, but Zach Frazier has been the bright spot on the O-line as a rookie.
Right.
So,
yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, they have had injuries. They've moved around a lot, and we've talked about that. Mm-hmm. But there have been a lot of, holding penalties, a lot of pre-snap penalties that are avoidable, and coincidentally, none of them have been caused by Zach Frazier. So I do think, he is crushing it right now. I will say, though, against the Chiefs, Russ, I think he was sacked 5 or 6 times. That can't happen against the Bengals. It cannot happen. And I don't really see it happening because they don't have, the best rush defense in the league. But, that really can't happen. Because, Russ needs time. He needs time to get the ball out and compete with Joe Burrow. All right, guys, we're going to hit some callers. It's New Year's Eve, but we got people calling in. I love it. All right, George, you want to talk some Steelers. What's going on?
Yeah, Happy New Year, ladies.
Happy New Year.
Hey, couple things. I'll be a Steelers fan forever, but I think 2 things have to change. The culture, which starts even up at the top with Rooney, is like this we have to run the ball, play defense, low-scoring games. When Kyle was here and we won the Super Bowl, we had Bettis, we had Ward. Even in Tomlin's early years, we had A.B., Brown, Bell. So I think, we had the talent and we were able to play that type of football, but the league is changing. Watching all these teams running up and down the field, last night the Lions scoring on 3 plays, I think we haven't drafted well in the last few years. And ever since Ben left and AB, we really don't have the talent to play the way we do. And I think the culture has to change. We get an offensive coordinator who Tomlin picks. I just don't think Tomlin wants to adjust to how the league is adjusted to playing offense. And I think that's what's hurting the Steelers.
George, I mean, you're not wrong there. And I do agree with most of what you said. I mean, the league has changed. And it is more difficult historically to, watch and see these coaches that have been around for a long time adapt to that. I mean, even at the college level, we're seeing, coaches retire early because they don't want to adapt to certain things. And I do see that happening with the Steelers. That's why I was excited about Justin Fields, to be honest, because I thought he was this dual threat quarterback that could compete with these dual threat QBs that are around the league. And I was concerned in the beginning of the season when we didn't bring in a second wide receiver, because these are high-powered offenses now. And it's not like a run and gun, win at the line of scrimmage type of game anymore like it was, 10, 15 years ago. It's just not that way. It's a lot more high-powered, and that's why I was excited about Arthur Smith coming in. I really thought Matt Canada kind of resembled that old style of offense, and now having Arthur Smith in, I thought it was going to open it up a lot more. Suze, I've said over and over again, I'm disappointed with how low of a snap count, low targets that, Pat Muth and Darnell Washington are getting. And so, I agree with a lot of what he just said right there.
Yeah, I think you could also make the argument, even just adjusting, okay, so you liked when Justin Fields was in. It was a little bit different. He was a little bit of a dual threat quarterback for this team. However, when Russell Wilson gets better, you can't argue, put the veteran in, the Super Bowl champion. However, right now, you just lost the last 3 games. If you find yourself in a rut in this game against the Bengals, do you go and start to mix it up by trying to put Justin Fields back in the mix and actually adapting to maybe what these other teams are doing, right? So I think the adaptability, is a good point to make. How do you adapt to what other teams are bringing to the table? You have Russell Wilson, who's this veteran quarterback. I'm using this example because you brought up Justin Fields, right? And I think that's the easiest.
Who, by the way, was cleared today, full participant in practice. He was struggling with that hamstring.
Yes.
But today he was good to go. So maybe we will see him.
So maybe we will see him in a couple of plays, which we've seen that at the end of games here when Russell Wilson has gotten back in. But you don't know. How do you shake this up so that this team can finally find a groove again?
Yeah, I think maybe putting Justin in more. But again, and I hate to be like, well, we should have done this. But, we all kind of knew this was going to happen. We should have brought in a second wide receiver back when, we should have brought him in. Brandon Ayuk, what happened there? So, and not saying Brandon Ayuk would be the end-all be-all to this offense, but it's a piece that I think, they could use, because Mike Williams, I was so high on him. I was so excited about him coming in here, had that, game-winning touchdown in Washington, and we haven't really seen him.
I was going to say, he's barely been used.
Yeah.
So you have to look at the other options. If your only option can't be George Pickens, and Russell Wilson has proved that he's not the only option, but for some reason that looks like the only option that is working right now.
When it comes to splash plays, Yeah, he's hit multiple receivers in the past couple of games. I believe, was it against the Chiefs or the Bengals? He hit 9 different guys. It might have been the Bengals.
It was the Bengals. He hit 10 different guys, and then the Browns that following game he hit 9. So he's proven he can do it.
Yeah, he's spreading it out. The only downside, though, is the splash plays, the big yardage plays, are coming from one guy. So you can spread out the love as much as you want, but if it's not moving you downfield, and that's a problem. All right, we'll go to Marty. Marty, what's going on?
Hey, ladies. Happy New Year to both of you, and glad to see the festive headgears back.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Unfortunately, it might be the last one for a while, though, because I don't think there's any holidays coming.
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Okay. My question to you, and what your opinions are, since the Ravens are going to play first, if they win, should Tomlin save some of our guys or go all out to win the game, since it's not going to matter whether we win or lose?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't know. I think Tomlin, I think these guys want to get right too bad.
Yeah.
I don't think they want to go into this postseason on a 4-game slide. So honestly, I think Tomlin and that front office, that coaching staff, the guys, the players too, I think they're going to want to do whatever it takes to take down this Bengals team and do it kind of in a statement fashion, to be honest, because I think they're really tired of hearing all the negativity. Look, they played 3 of the hardest teams in the NFL in 11 days. Obviously, it was going to be difficult, but just being around that facility today, there's a lot of weird vibes and just kind of negative energy. And so I think they're going to come out really hungry with a chip on their shoulder, and I think they're going to want to make a statement win out of this.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to lay down and die for the last regular season game just because the Ravens pull out a win against the Browns because they played earlier in the day. I do think that the Steelers will want to end this season on a high note. Now, I mean, I guess if it's significant enough where it's like, okay, this person might not be able to play in that first round, then, you know, bite the bullet on that. But I think that Tomlin will come out wanting to get a win, especially with how little this offense has, you know, put up points over the last couple of games, just 10 points against the Chiefs. Then also on the defensive side, I mean, they've given up 30-plus points in the last 3 games as well, too. So this team has a lot to prove right now, and I don't think that Mike Tomlin wants to go out on the same note as the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, and especially at home. I mean, if it was in Cincinnati, like maybe, but not at home. And yeah, I just think at the end of the day, you do not want to enter a postseason on a 4-game skid.
Especially if they might be making a trip to Highmark Stadium or an intense environment like that to come in on a 4-game skid into your first playoff game. Absolutely not.
Yeah, no, that would be very difficult. All right, guys, we're going to head a break. Give us a call, 412-575-2600. We want to hear from you guys. Hope you're having a rockin' New Year's Eve.